Okay, so the Unity Cup is a new scenario that just came out in Umamusume, and it will be your new way of training aces from now on, making the URA finale somewhat obsolete. The only reason to go back to it would be to make parent, since it's easier to get skill hints and the scenario spark is also better. In any case, let's finally talk about how the Unity Cup works and how to actually play it. The Unity Cup is actually not too different from URA finale, and it's rather easy to understand and play. In this scenario, you will be making a team much like the one we use during team trials. The members of this team will be the characters from your support card and some other NPCs that will show up as you progress through the run, and you'll need to make them stronger in order to win some races that will happen throughout your career. However, if you're using a pal card like Riko Kashimoto, she won't actually join your team and it will make your team smaller at the start of your career. This has some advantages and I'll be going over them later in the video. While training in the Unity Cup, you'll notice your support cards in the top right actually have a few new things, so let's start by talking about them. Starting with the white icon on the right, this means the character is available for special training. Special training will make this character stronger, further improve your team, and it will also fill up the spirit gauge on the left. If you have multiple characters available with special training in the same place, you'll also get some extra stats depending on the amount of special trainings. Once the spirit gauge on the left is full and you trigger another special training, you'll get a spirit explosion. Spirit explosions will give you a lot of extra stats, a random skill hint from its corresponding support card, and it will also make your character a lot stronger, further improving your team's strength. A spirit explosion can only happen once per character, so be sure you pick the correct stat when triggering it. Spirit explosions also add additively, so having multiple of them in the same place doesn't actually give you extra stats. Special training and spirit explosion will also consume some extra energy, so be sure to keep that in mind. Let's now talk about your team members. Like I mentioned before, your support card will also be part of your team, but you'll also get some other characters as well. A few turns after you start training, Harurara, Machikane, Taiki Shiro, and Rice Shower will also join your team. However, if you already brought them as a support card or are training one of them, they will be part of your team from the start, making it so you get less team members at the beginning, making your team relatively smaller. Having fewer team members can actually be a good thing, since this way the average strength among all members will be easier to increase. And because of this, you can also increase your team rank faster. Also, the overall strength of your team will actually dictate what level each training facility is at. Since in the Unity Cup, you don't actually level up each training facility by training them multiple times, but will instead level them up by making your team stronger. Like I mentioned before, you'll have to win some races together with your team throughout your career. These races will happen every 6 months, and once one comes up, you'll have the option of facing one of 3 teams. And just like in team trials, the team at the top is the strongest one, and the one at the bottom will be the weakest one. Winning these races will be very important, as it will increase your team rank, and the higher your team rank, the more bonuses you'll receive, making it even stronger. And just like I mentioned previously, the stronger your team is, the higher level your training facilities will be. Of course, winning against a top team will always give you the most benefits, but sometimes that might not be possible. Just like in team trials, you need to win at least 3 races to win the entire match, and you can actually see a prediction showing you the odds of winning or losing, so be sure to always pick the highest one with the best odds of winning. Later in your career, you'll be able to get a special skill unique to the scenario. The skill you'll get will be based on your team's highest ranked stat. Let's say, for example, your team has an A on speed and everything else is at B. You'll then get the Burning Spirit Speed skill. The hint level and strength of this skill will also depend on the number of spirit explosions you've done throughout your run, so be sure to do as many of them as possible so that you'll be able to get the gold version of these skills with a high hint level. There will also be another skill that you can get at the end of your career. This skill will actually be chosen when you pick the name of your team. The names available will depend whether or not you bring support cards or a character with a scenario link. For example, if you decide to train Rice Shower or bring any of her support cards, you'll be able to get a team name that will give you cooldown at the end of your run. If you don't bring anyone with a scenario link, there will only be one option, which will be the one at the bottom, giving you no stopping me. And let's finally talk about some tips on how to actually play the Unity Cup. You'll want to give a lot of priority to special trainings, even more than bond farming on your support cards. Basically, try see where you can get the most special training while also getting a good amount of bond. Of course, they are both very important, but try giving a higher priority to special training. Sometimes you might see a lot of extra NPCs in a training facility, but those will actually not do anything unless they have a special training icon on them. So remember, more characters does not always mean better. And finally, as for your team name, the best one will usually be the bottom one, giving you no stopping me, as the skill got a big buff with the recent update, giving you more acceleration in late race just by having someone at 2.5 meters or less in front of you. Before the update, they had to be really close to you, making it quite a bit harder to trigger. The first and fourth team name giving you Mild Maven and cooldown can also be good choices depending on what you're training for. And that is all for this video. I hope it was helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.